Hey guys, this is Valentina Palladino for Ars Technica, and today I'm here with the newest HTC phone. This is the HTC U11. So this just came out, and it kind of models the design of two HTC phones that were announced back in January, I believe. It's the HTC U Ultra and the HTC U Play. And with those two devices, HTC kind of introduced this glass back design. So just to give you some specs, this has an octa-core Snapdragon 835 processor, an Adreno 540 GPU, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 64 gigabytes of storage with the option to expand that with a micro SD card. So I've been spending a little bit of time with this device, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the good things and the bad things about the HTC U11. So one of the good things about the U11 is the kicker feature, which is the EdgeSense technology that HTC embedded into this device. So when we first kind of talked about it when it came out, and we got to do a hands-on with it, it seemed kind of gimmicky. So the concept is that currently there's only the power button and the volume rocker on the side of this device. Instead of having an extra button that you could use to either launch the camera or do any other type of activity, you just kind of squeeze the sides of the device for something to happen. So for me, I have this set up to take a screenshot when I do just a short press of the sides. And when I have a long press, it opens up the camera. And there are these embedded, and you're not going to be able to feel them, pressure sensors on either side of the device. There's 4 on either side, so 8 in total. So it's going to be able to sense the pressure that you're squeezing the device with, and then be able to do whatever action you customized for either a short squeeze or a long squeeze. I was really surprised how much I actually enjoyed this, because I think it really has to do with the fact that it's totally customizable. Well, mostly customizable. So if you go into the settings, you can see what you can customize with EdgeSense. Now, like I said, I take a lot of screenshots regularly, so that's why I set the short squeeze to be a screenshot, and I just kind of left the long press to be opening up the camera, because that makes it really easy to access the camera quickly. But this can be set to open up any app that you want. So you're not confined to what HTC would suggest, either their default apps or default features. You can customize this to open any app that you want. So you can either customize it to be a short squeeze or a long squeeze. So in that respect, I really liked this feature. And also when you set up EdgeSense, you can customize the pressure that it will recognize to your body. So when I hold a device, it's going to be different than how somebody else might hold a device. They might naturally put more pressure when they squeeze on a device. It will recognize how much pressure you're putting on it and use that as the reference for when you want to open up something else. And in the short time that I have been using the HTC U11, I've never had any misfires. So I'm holding the device right now pretty comfortably in my hand, and as you can see, the touch screen will recognize my fingers a little bit more than I would want it to, but the sides of the device are not recognizing a squeeze. If I put more pressure on it like this, nothing is really happening. You really need to have that full amount of pressure from you intentionally. Another great thing about the U11 is its performance. So like I said, this has a Snapdragon 835 processor in it, and in our benchmarks, it performed pretty much exactly like other current flagships, including the Galaxy S8 Plus. So it was really fast, really zippy to use, never really ran into any problems with it, and it performed up to flagship speed. Another great thing about the U11 is its battery life. So HTC couldn't really give us an estimate like what they thought the battery life would last, but this has a 3000 milliamp battery inside of it, and in the battery test that we have run, it lasted about 12.5 hours on a single charge, which is pretty good. And like I said, with the performance aspect of it, it's kind of in line with other flagships like the Galaxy S8 Plus and the iPhone 7 as well. Another great aspect of the U11, if you are an audiophile, is that HTC took the audio aspect of the phone into account with 2 ways. First, that there's an improved sound system in it, but also you get this USB Type-C to 3.5 millimeter audio jack adapter, because as you can see at the bottom here, there is no headphone jack. But some people might like that even better, because yes, you do have to worry about this adapter, but HTC does include it. However, HTC also includes these little earbuds, which can do active noise canceling. Because it can draw power from the phone using the USB Type-C port, they don't need a battery inside of them to do the active noise canceling. So you're going to get all the features of an active noise canceling pair of earbuds in the ones that are included in the box. So that's pretty cool. So now on to the not so great things about the HTC U11. The first thing that I would say is not my favorite is the design. So as you can see, there's nothing inherently wrong about it. There's nothing glaringly different or really bad about it. However, I think overall the design looks a little bit dated, especially when you consider these wide bezels at the top and the bottom here. You know, Samsung and Apple and a bunch of other OEMs have been making super bezel-less, very thin bezel smartphones, but that's kind of where the industry is going. And having these really wide bezels at the bottom, and also even this physical home button, is kind of outdated. So I was kind of disappointed to see that. So as you can see, there's this glass back that it has, and it sits on top of a technically unibody design, but while they might have some striking colors that are underneath the glass, I have the sapphire one, which is pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. But as you can see, it really clings onto fingerprints like so badly. So, I mean, when I look at it, when I first opened it, I really liked the color. I thought it was really eye-catching, and when it kind of catches the light, you see you know, some more of the colors of the environment around you. It's pretty, and also I will say that the camera, this rear camera here, is really nice and almost flush with the back, which is nice. But because of the glass back, it looks so dirty all of the time. So another kind of caveat with the U11 is its dual hot word, wake word support. So the dual wake word support in general is a good thing, because this phone will be able to support Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa. So you can say, okay, Google, and you can say Alexa to wake either of the voice assistants and use whatever one that you want. So that's a good thing. However, the model that I have only has Google Assistant on it right now. Alexa's coming later, about a month later, HTC said, so you will have to wait, and it's kind of disappointing that you don't get that dual hot word, wake word support right out of the box, but at least you know it is coming. Another not so great thing about the U11, in my opinion, is HTC's Sense Companion UI. So this was launched a while back, and basically it's supposed to be an on-smartphone assistant. And HTC kind of describes it as, you know, not using voice like Google Assistant or Alexa would be, but it's mostly trying to give you tips for your life and how you use your phone directly on the phone. Here, it's giving me a little info card, which they're very similar to like the Google Now cards that you would get if you use that. I haven't really gotten many suggestions yet, but in general, I think when you have a phone that supports both Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa, personally, I wouldn't be inclined to even use Sense Companion, because most of my life would live on a different service rather than HTC's own AI. However, one of the things that I would use it for is the device management portion of it, which HTC describes as it'll kind of learn how you use your phone and then give you tips on how to use the phone better. So, for example, if you give the Sense Companion access to your calendar, it might notice that you have a particularly busy day one day, and it'll kind of recommend on your free time to charge the phone up if it thinks you're going to need more battery life. So overall, there are a lot of good things about the HTC U11, and it's a really nice update from the HTC 10, which we really enjoyed. It was a really nice flagship. However, personally, I would have preferred if the same features and guts were in a design that was like the HTC 10. So I prefer that kind of all metal design. I think it looks better, but I am really happy that EdgeSense in particular ended up being more useful than I thought it was going to be. Because at first it looked just really gimmicky. Maybe you won't use it at all, but the good thing is that you can turn off EdgeSense entirely so you don't have to use the kind of squeezableness of this device. So, for a $650 flagship, the performance adds up, the battery life adds up, and it really just depends on your preference with the design if you want to spend your money on HTC's newest flagship.